This is a tutorial on language maintenance. The SDC application provides language flexibility throughout the package. These language codes set up in this screen will allow users to work on the system in their preferred language. Users will see their preferred language in various areas of the software, including the screens, bubble help, that is the help that appears underneath the buttons, system messages such as GL account does not exist, various messages of that nature, and on reports and listings. We query in this screen, we can bring up the various language codes that we already have set up. For your users working on the system in the user file maintenance GB4200, and we're just going to quickly pop into there. We have a language code here set up is English, but for example, if this particular user was French, they would see their screen prompts in French if the user was set up with the French language code in the screen. If the language code set up in the user file maintenance doesn't exist, there hasn't been translation done for that in the application, then the system will go to the global file maintenance GB0100 and retrieve the language code from there and use that language code for the translation. And if it doesn't exist there, the default language code is English. The language code is used beyond just the SDC application in terms of what the users of the application will see on the screens, on the reports, and in the messages. It's also used for vendors and customers that you set up in your system. Can produce invoices and purchase orders, various other documents used in the application that will go out to the users in the specified language that has been set up for the vendor or the customer. So for example, in your vendor file maintenance, if you have a customer set up as German and you have German translation set up in the system, their purchase orders would go out in German. We have another screen called product translation, and that screen you can take your product and translate the description into another language, and based upon the vendor or the customer code, the language that's set up there, it will use the translated description when sending out various information to that customer or vendor. In this screen here, we can set up any language code we wish. So if we do an insert record at this point, for example, we may want to use in the system EN, but we want to use uppercase EN because we're running our application in uppercase. We could put EN in here. The SDC language is a link to some of the SDC type of messages. So what we would do at this point, we would do a list of values, and we would find the SDC language code, and we would enter that in here. When we hit enter, automatically the Oracle language code comes up. That has been set up already in the system internally based upon the SDC language, and that's for Oracle messages that come up on the screen, such as you see down here, like the record count. That's an Oracle message. And here we would type in whatever we want in terms of the language code, and then save our record. And then we have our new record in there. So now what we might want to do is we might want to delete our EN language code from here. This was a default one set up in the system, and you could delete that so that users, when they're entering various data into the system, customers or vendors aren't going to be entering in capital EN and lowercase en. So the language code provides great flexibility in the system to both the users of the system, allowing them to work in their own language, and also for your vendors and customers seeing documents in their language. That concludes the tutorial on the language maintenance.